Hi, my name is Jayla Johnson, and I am a kindergarten teacher at Team Success, a charter school in Bradenton, Florida. I have 20 students. 16 of them are ELLs, and 4 of them are African American. I have no white students, which is a big change for me because when I was doing my internship, I did it at a very affluent school, so I was used to a lot of parent involvement, a lot of donations for school supplies and things like that. So it was definitely a shock to me to get here, but I enjoy it, I love it. And I just wanted to offer you a little bit of background about my class before I get into the myth that I found most interesting. And that was that we do not actually have learning styles as far as, visual and auditory. We have more of a preference on how we enjoy learning, how we take in the things that our teachers are trying to tell us. And in an article written by Simon Oxenham titled "Why the Widespread Belief in Learning Styles is Not Just Wrong, It is Also Dangerous," he states, "We, meaning us as teachers, cannot waste our time and resources trying to promote learning styles when there is no evidence that it actually helps our learning." And I just thought that this was really interesting because when you're going and getting your bachelor's for education, they're teaching you about Eric Erikson and Howard Gardner and Jean Piaget and all of these theorists that have all of these different ideas on how we learn and all of our styles of learning. But it's not, I've learned throughout my research here is that we don't have that. We don't have a style. We have a preference. I mean, everybody has a preference of how they learn and how they take in information. So I just thought that was really interesting, and it's more on how motivated are your students to learn, how engaged are they to learn the material that you're trying to teach them. We can all say, I learn better when I watch a video, but if your teacher is letting you listen to tapes of World War II victims, you're going to adhere to that if it's really engaging to you. And in my classroom, of course, I have videos that I show. We have classroom discussions. I read books. So my students are getting all of that. And of course, I cater to all of their preferences. So while reading How We Learn by Benedict Carey, there was a specific study that really popped out to me. It was really interesting to me. Eleanor Gibson published a book titled Principles of Perceptual Learning and Development, and the book established a new branch of learning known as perceptual learning. And this is done in the classroom. I do it in the classroom all the time. I mix it with motor development, so I will add a balance beam or jumping jacks, and we'll go over vowel sounds or sight words, vocabulary, and it's happening all the time. And that's what's really interesting about perceptual learning, is that it's always taking place, whether you're in the classroom or if you're doing it at home with your own students. And I really enjoyed that. And there was a quote by Gibson that I really like, and she says, "We do not just see, we look. We do not just hear, but we listen. Perceptual learning is self-regulated, and it's always happening." In an article written by Brian Harris titled "Stop Telling Your Students to Study," he states, "Illusion of competence, when we can remember things with ease, but not when it comes to test time." And this is why you must identify your students' learning preferences so that you can get the most out of them and they can get the most out of your lessons. And I wanted to just introduce this real quick. I think it's going to be backwards. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I just wanted to show you. And this is something that I made. I titled it ROGI, was my acronym, and it's Reach Out and Grab It. And it's basically just showing that if their preference is, for instance, classroom discussions, then you're going to bring that out of the student during that time. So, for instance, I said, call on Eddie to lead classroom discussions, because as a teacher, you notice how he learns best is through discussions. And then at the bottom, for instance, it's visual, and it says, call on Alex and Abby to lead visual discussions after videos. So if you're showing a video in the classroom, you know, look at what students are taking in, how, like, their preference. You know, as a teacher, you should always be trying to better your students and make sure that they're understanding your lessons. So I just thought that that was really interesting, that the myth is we don't have styles. We have more of a preference. You know, how motivated are we to learn? Thank you.